First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
A Yankees fan. Good morning.
Yeah. The only, like I told Bill the other day, the only good thing the Yankee fans are celebrating this year is that the Mets are not doing that much better.
Yeah, we're not. We're at 500. Which you have to understand for a Mets fan is like eating cotton candy and having it 77 and sunny. I mean, it's a beautiful day for us. But you're right, man. The Mets cannot hit the ball.
Well.
Terrible.
Yanks been going through the same thing.
Yeah. What is it? Okay, so we're going into Mother's Day weekend, which is a big weekend for a lot of people. And I think things feel pretty good right now.
Well, tomorrow we should, we've got, more pods obviously going on vaccinations. And just as a point, we're going to hit the 100,000 mark for people on first doses, which I think is pretty good.
In Oneida County?
In Oneida County.
Yeah, so you're creeping
100,000.
Can I say, though, can I ask you, does that include what they do up at SUNY Poly? Or that does? It does, okay.
It does.
Because at one point they weren't...
It's everybody, MBH.
Okay, got it. At one point, I don't think they were sharing that information with you.
Yeah, it was hard to get at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it loosened up. I mean, so 100,000. I mean, that's
big.
That's first doses. That's great, and we've got a lot of we're over at 53.3% on the first doses. The adult population there, and next week because we've got a slew of second doses next week, we're going to get close to that 53% on the second doses. So that's all good news for us.
Yeah, it is.
As things open up, and I continue to stress that if you haven't had even the first one, please go get it.
And don't skip the second one.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
come on.
The numbers that Dan Gilmore, we talked about this yesterday, said, I think it's at 99% on the second doses.
We're not getting that here.
Real slim, less than 1%. That's not.
I think
it tends not to come back for whatever reason.
We are lucky here. When you see some of the crazy numbers of the anti-vaxxing areas in the country, and that we're really not dealing with that. The other thing, the decrease in the number of people getting vaccinated, that is real, but it's a little complicated. Can you talk about? Yes, there was a point where maybe the Johnson & Johnson at one point might have slowed it down a little bit. But you're now dealing with a part of the population that is not so eager to get the vaccination in the first place. So, of course, if naturally, this is going to be a little bit slower, right?
It is, and it's part of the issue of people that are, doing things and considering that a couple factors. So, the positivity rate's down, cases are down. If I haven't had my vaccine by now, and I'm a 41-year-old male or female or whatever, or 35 or 38 or whatever, it's like, well, I'm fine.
Yeah,
everybody's fine. What do I need to go for?
Right.
So that's a big factor. But it's starting to. Hopefully, we're going to push some things out in the next few days with that, especially to try and, as they say, incentivize. It's crazy you got to incentivize people to take a vaccine, but
I know.
But that's what we're up against, and it really is about when you look around and see what can be. I think that's where people got to kind of take a look and say, okay, I can go to graduations, I can go and do the things I know you talked about. I can go and do the things that we didn't do last year, but the more people vaccinated, the more people that can participate.
A couple of interesting points on this too. Last spring, well, they said it was going to get really bad. It never got as bad as they said it was going to last spring. Well, that's true, but
it's true.
But we were also shut down and everybody was wearing a mask if you were out. I mean, if you take that away, you got to wonder what it would have looked like. And the same thing, I think, holds true with the variants right now, and with saying we were going to get a big push in March and April. We vaccinated a lot of people very early, especially in those vulnerable ages here.
We did, and we didn't, despite some outrage and some discourse with the state a little bit. I mean, we started doing seniors as well, and bypassed some of the requirements on segments, and we did that because we knew, and like everybody, and wasn't any, we were ahead of anybody, but that's the vulnerable population, and that's what I talk about now when we look at those numbers now. Why are our numbers down, and why are the hospitalizations down to that point? That mostly vulnerable population has been vaccinated, and that should be a message to the younger ones, because now our average age of positives is around the age of 27. Think about that. That wasn't the age of positives a year ago. Yeah. So, the message there has to be, look, we attacked and like everybody else in other communities, attacked that vulnerable population to get that vaccine out and to get the positivity rate down and away and actually reduced. And now if we can only reach into that pocket that is refusing or is reluctant, think of what that positivity rate could look like. I mean, our caseloads are down. I mean, those are all good numbers, but we still need to do a little bit more. Yeah, so.
I got to tell you, we really didn't talk about this much this week, but both Monaski and I reached our post 14 days second shot. We are now all fully vaccinated in here, so.
Which means I can tell my friends and family I'm fully vaccinated, but basically nothing else.
All right, Andrew.
Switching topics just briefly, a lot of people have been calling and texting us and asking us to ask you about the DMV. I mean, is there going to be a time in the future that you see it opening, even in a limited capacity?
Is that state or local, that decision?
Well, it is a state decision. The governor has not allowed them to open at full capacity, which is interesting to me where we are in all of this, and that's a big one. So, yes, it's on the state's end whether they can open up to full customer service. But we talked about this yesterday. I had a department head meeting. I mean, and I've said this all along. We've been open all along. There are state offices not open. There are city offices not open. We shouldn't be telling schools and everybody else to open if we're not opening. And, we really need to get back to business. And if we, and that's where when I look at the state, it's like, you're supposed to be, the governor has all these examples that he sets in terms of people and these lectures that we get from him. Open your offices.
Yeah. Listen,
show people that it can be done the right way.
It's what I tell my kids at Halloween. If you give away all the candy in the beginning, then you've got nothing to give them when they come knocking on the door later.
That's a good point.
And that's what this feels like, I think.
It does, but
what can he give you if he gives it all away?
Yeah, but to that point, it's like, open, you want it.
You're right.
You want to show how it can be done.
Yep.
We've been doing it, and our rate, I got to say, our employees, they've done a phenomenal job. And just in terms of following the guidelines. Yeah. Those, getting vaccinated, wearing masks, dealing with the public every day.
Yeah.
So, it can be done.
I've been looking over the course of the last 2 weeks at everything that's been done. I'm working on a project, as you know, everything that's been done in the last year. And it is at times emotional to see some of the photos of everything that has been done, everything we've been through. And then from the drive-through, the vaccination, all of how this community came together, it really is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, and we're going to highlight a little bit of that in the state of the county. Obviously, that's a big piece of what we're doing next week when our address is aired, and we talk about that and talk about the community and really show what we've been able to do. And I think it's really is. I say it all the time. The community has been phenomenal. I mean, they really have. I mean, given look, are there pockets and are there people that don't follow the rules and try to be, you're going to find that everywhere. Yeah. But for the most part, what we have had to what we have seen and what we have dealt with has been pretty, really, really good considering what other areas have gone through.
Monaski, with speaking of that, final question.
I just wanted to follow up on last week. We talked to you about the dance company that was involved. Has that investigation completed? Can you name them? What was the penalty if there was one?
Not yet. Should be completed shortly. I mean, we still had a couple cases pop up at the end, and they were doing some other pieces to that to get to all the details. So we should be coming out shortly.
Okay. Tony Picente, thank you so much. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you. You too, guys. Have a good one.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.